Hi, I'm Jennifer Schlickburn, the Game Pioneer, and today I'm going to be talking about a review copy that I got, since the response to me getting free review copies seemed to be positive. I got Scythe. And of course, it's a 1 to 5 player game by Stonemaier Games. And like I said, this copy was provided to me for review from Stonemaier Games. So I'm not going to go into a full review and description because I bet you there's 200 videos on this game as it's been out for 7 years. So if you want that, you can check on Board Game Geek, and I'm sure you'll find something to your liking that goes through all the details. So, one of the things we're going to start with, Scythe is a jumblation. It's a jumblation, of a bunch of stuff. From the BGG description are the following mechanics. We have card play, conflict resolution, contracts, in-game bonuses, forced commitment, grid movement, king of the hill, movement points, take that, tech trees, and tech tracks, variable player powers, variable setup, victory points as a resource, zone of control. Now, with all of that, you've got to like something, right? I might have liked it if the game were probably more focused, frankly. But for those of you who like everything in the kitchen and the kitchen sink in your board game, here you are. So, also, there's combat in the game, which I guess is what they're calling Take That. I don't like combat being described as Take That, but I'm not running BGG clearly, so, you gotta go with what they have. And the other thing is that there's also racing, basically, because the game is over when a player meets a victory condition, not after a certain number of turns or even a certain number of points, right? So, which is something, okay, I'm going to talk about that later. The game involves asymmetric powers, which is one of its attractions, I would say, is that there's all these different powers. And I haven't looked at the expansions, but I'm sure they add even more. There are in the game that, in the base game, there's 5 factions, and each of them have their own board and player mat. This means that what's important to one player may not be important to another. And that means, and here we're going to talk about interaction a bit, that players should be aware of which actions affect whom. There is also a way to directly benefit. Hey, I do this, that means, this person over here gets that because I did this. Again, I mean, it's like this game presses every button that of stuff that I don't like. But at any rate, we will keep going. So you also start with your own secret objectives and special power. There are resources all over the board which your helpless workers can mine. And in my games, a lot of the board play was involved in protecting those workers and going after inadequately protected workers. Efficiency is everything in this game, which is fine. I mean, efficiency and Euro games have been interlocked for decades. So that's not an issue for me. Your mat has rows of choices divided into sections, and per section you can either do one choice at the top or a choice at the bottom, or when you're efficient, you do both choices. Now, you don't just pop your fingers and that happens. You have to work on that. And part of the subtlety, I would argue, in the game is to get that going in time to still win. So if you wait around and then, okay, I think I'll become efficient, where I'm taking 2 actions per section instead of just one, it may be too late. There is combat. You can have combat, but you don't really have combat. Not the way I like. I'm a skirmish player, a dude on the map, if I can say so, kind of player. So this kind of cat and mouse, is he going to attack? Oh, well, but if I do this, then maybe it's not for me. So now there's a nice centerpiece of the board and you go, oh, great, everybody's going to fight over that. No. That's not what happened in the games that I played. Somebody kind of like wandered into it, right? And it's like, okay, that's nice. And, if I have time, I'll go after him. But it wasn't, again, something that I enjoyed or thought was great. Yet another disappointment. It also has secret objectives. Guess what I don't like? I don't like secrets in competitive games. Okay, so I really dislike, I can't remember the name of the game that did this, but basically you ended the game and you're going, okay, well, I've got 50 points, he's got 40, and they've got 45. And, but look at the secret objectives. Now I have 80 points and they have 120. That's not fun for me. I want to compete with people on the board, not, well, gee, I wonder what objective cards they have. That's a real turnoff. That is definitely something I don't care for. Now, there are games that do have secret objectives, but those secrets are kind of like, well, this is a way that you could get some points, or you can get started, or this is a way, instead of making this a sandbox game where you look at it and you go, what do I do? Now you look at your secret objective, okay, this is something that I can do. But it's not a definitive way of winning. And that's what I found. Again, I played 2, maybe 3 games of Scythe. So, I could have, it could have been something that just came up in the games that I played. There's also a triumph track. So on this track, you play stars, which are going to give you points. For completing the open objectives. There are 9 of them, and the game is over after someone has completed 6 of those 9. Which is like, okay, I'm bored. I'll just sit here and try to do, these objectives. I don't really care about winning. I just want this damn game to be over. And, it looked like that's what one of the players did. They weren't interested in playing. They wanted to move on to another game, so they just ended the game. No, I don't like games like that. That's one of the advantages of playing a game that has a limited number of turns. In Carnegie, you have, I believe it's 20 turns? Yeah, it's 20 turns. You got to play the whole 20 turns. Not, okay, well, I'm going to do this and boom, the game's over. No, it's a big no-no for me. So, as you can probably tell, Scythe is not a game for me. However, nearly every friend I know loves this game. I was so fortunate as to play with Naveen of Before You Play, and that was one thing that was important to me because I had already had kind of a negative experience. I said, well, I'm going to play this game with people who love it, and that way I can really see what shines for them in the game. And I did see that. It's just that it doesn't shine for me. So, now, if you think, even after all of this, you might like it, look at one of those, many detailed review videos on Board Game Geek and see if it's a game for you. So, thanks very much for watching. The advance of discussion is the next video, and you folks have a great week.